kind of really believe in planning your life, strategizing. And I think the sequence in which we did things really made sense.
Yeah.
And obviously there's ideals, not everyone can do this, but for us, because we were so young and didn't yet have the responsibility of kids or whatever it is, we were really able to kind of plan out our lives and live our lives in a very logical, pragmatic way to set ourselves up to this point. So I think, for example, the way like we did it, and I think can work for a lot of people, is, when you're young, really focus on your personal development, your growth, take risks to invest in yourself, start your business, create your success, do all of that, because it's, I think, really one of the best times to do that is when you are younger and you have the energy, you have
less
the
responsibility,
low costs and things like, you can take the risks, you can kind of set all that up.
and you have the time to fail, because you have to understand that in order to become successful, you're going to fail multiple times, and to not see failure as a reason to not continue doing to not continue achieving your goals and your dreams. So failure is just a stepping stone towards that success. Both you and I have failed countless times before really creating that success, and that failure is what propelled us towards the success. It's the experience that we learn from each of those failures. So that's all part of it.
Yeah, you're more open-minded, you're willing to learn things, be a sponge, absorb things, the motivation. There's a lot of things that I think come with that earlier stage that you can really channel into creating and setting up your life.
And also when you're young, I don't know if this is everyone's experience, but for me, I just feel like I'm so much more open-minded, and I'm not set in my ways. I'm not set in my beliefs. I felt like as I've grown older, and I'm only 30 years old, but if I compare back to 20 years old, I have certain beliefs now, certain ways of thinking
that you have,
that I'm much more like, this is how it is. This is what I believe. This is my way, and I know. And I'm a bit more stubborn.
Yeah.
And I think that the younger generation looks up at the older generation, like your parents, and you see that in them. But it's that flexibility when you're young, that ability to be the sponge, to be moldable, to be adaptable, to be open-minded, that really opens up the door for a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Even I think, like, for me, when I was young, like, I always looked up to like heroes. I looked up to these
Naively.
role models. Yeah, like I wanted to be like this person or be like that person, and so everything that they would say, I just absorb it and just want to emulate them and all that, because you're still in that stage where you haven't been
burned by life.
Yeah, you just don't know who you are. You haven't created your identity and solidified it yet, and all of that. So I think that was like a huge advantage when you're young, to take advantage of all of that. And
it's that naivete of believing that, and it's the naivete, we call it naivete, but it's really the truth. Like, the truth is that you can do whatever it is that you set your mind to, that you can achieve whatever you want. You can have a dream that's so far out of your reach and you don't know how you're going to get there. But if it's your dream and you're going to work hard towards it, you will achieve it. You have that strong belief. And as you get older, what happens is you start to believe in all of your challenges and all of the obstacles between you and your dreams. And then you start to believe that you won't be able to achieve it.
Become more realistic, about things.
And who says that reality is, the best
and that's why, like, for example, when it comes to planning your life and creating a vision, I always tell people, like, imagine you're like a kid. You ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's going to say, I want to be the president. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, like, there's no limits on the imagination of kids. And then as you become older, you're like, oh, well, I can't do that because of this. And, oh, that's not possible for, And you have all these reasons. And so I think even as you are older, it's not to say when you get older, you still can't keep that open-mindedness, that flexibility, that dream, that vision. I think you always have to maintain that and not allow the experiences of life to weigh you down, to limit you, to hold you back. But definitely as you go through life and you've had more painful events, those events are pivotal moments in your life, because they can create limiting beliefs. They can create, things that you now try to avoid in your life, and you have to be conscious. So that's why I think learning personal development so young is so useful, because as you go through those experiences, you can be aware, hey, how can I process this event so it doesn't become a limiting belief in my life? How can I reframe this? How can I look at this in a different way? What did I learn from this? How can I grow from it? If you don't know how to deal with traumas and you go through it, then you're just going to allow those traumas, those pains, to now create barriers in your life and prevent you from living your life and creating the success that you want. So
the awareness is always a key word in my life, in your life. And I think that when you do personal development, you realize how gaining a better sense of awareness, a better sense of self is really going to benefit you for the rest of your life, because a lot of us are very unconscious to who we are. And when you talk about traumas, Gabor Mate is a wonderful resource on trauma. And what he says, it's never about what happened. It's never about the event itself, but it's really about how you internalize it. Yes. It's about the awareness of what is going on in the mind. How do you feel about it? How did you process it? That's what can create the trauma in someone. And so when you become aware of things that were unconscious before, things that were traumatic and were unconscious, but you're bringing them to your conscious mind. And by bringing them to your conscious mind, you now have an ability to move past them.
For sure. And so going back, I think like doing a lot of that personal growth when you're young, focusing on your success when you're young, that is just going to pay dividends for you as you go through life. You know, it gives you such a huge advantage as you go through life. If you already have a certain mindset to get through certain experiences, you already have freedom or security or whatever it is in your business. And then I think also traveling, like for us, traveling the world at a young age and then doing that before having kids was really beneficial, because once you do have kids, you can still travel and everything, but everything now changes. Like that, you know, if we did travel or do certain things, it's just, you know, there's nap times you have to be aware of. There's just certain places. Like one thing I remember we consciously decided to do before having Lucas, we said, okay, what are all the countries that we're going to go to that we're probably not going to go to once we have young kids,
AKA the more dangerous countries.
Yeah, so let's go to, you know, Ethiopia. Let's go to like whatever those countries.
Or the ones that are very far away.
Yeah, far away, difficult to get to, and all that. And then the more like we didn't do Europe. We've done a bit of Europe, but we didn't really do a lot of it because we thought, hey, you know what, Europe is a place we can go when we have kids.
Yeah.
And so so yeah, like we kind of like even planned that out to that extent as well. But I think just because we traveled so much, like we went to 50 countries, many countries we went to multiple times, you know, living the digital nomad lifestyle and everything, getting that out of a system, like we always said to ourselves, let's just do this now and live this life. And then once we settle down, have a home and set all that set up, then we're not going to have that desire to travel as much. Yeah. And I think that's been true, is that like, we don't have nearly as much of a desire to travel. No. Even in fact, as we got closer to, like before we had Lucas, but like it got to the point where we were just kind of really done with traveling. I remember we were in Italy and we decided to come back early. You know, we had like a 3-week trip planned and we're there in Positano and, you know, Amalfi and all that.
It's actually our honeymoon trip.
It was our honeymoon trip. And we're just like, yeah, we miss like
it's just another beach.
It's kind of we're kind of now uncomfortable, you know, just here and like it's time to
when you've had so much variety, you crave the comfort of and the certainty of being in one place, and that's just how life works. You know, the grass is always greener on the other side. I think also, you know, traveling before you have kids is valuable because it's a lot cheaper. You know, it's a lot more expensive buying those extra seats, and just a lot more to manage. And a lot of moms I've met here, a lot of them say, you know, it's not really a vacation when you go with your kids. And so oftentimes they say, sometimes they go, you know, separately now. I mean, of course, there's places you want to go with your kids and, you know, have fun. But it's a lot to manage little ones, especially. It was a great plan to do that. And I'm glad we did that in advance, and we gained an incredible cultural education, which is not something that you can learn from a textbook. But I think the key to traveling at the young age wasn't just to go and travel and spend all of our savings and incur credit card debt, which a lot of people do. For us, the key was, listen, I'm doing this while I'm building my business. And that is the condition, that I'm not going to go and travel and enjoy myself unless I'm moving forward with building my business. And so that was key for us. I remember one of the first trips that we took, we went to Thailand. And what we would do is we would work on our computers all day, you know, into the early afternoon. And then, you know, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. hits and we're off to the beach. And so you get the best of both worlds. You get to enjoy your travel, but you're also building your business. And that's the beauty again of the online business. I will never stop raving about building an online business just because of that freedom, that mobile freedom.
That was like one of the best times, you know, when we were always in different countries and different cities, and you know, and we were working our asses off. I mean, I think the challenging part was like every environment we're in, we had to like film YouTube videos or whatever, you know, it's just setting up, you know, you're in a different place and everything. But for us, you know, we were like, basically our lives during that stage was our businesses, our relationship, and, you know,
fitness.
And then fitness and, you know, we'd find ways to enjoy every destination that we're in. And so it's just an amazing lifestyle to have. And some of the places we went, like the cost of living was a lot less too than what it cost in Canada. Like Thailand, I remember, you know, we'd go to the gym and then we'd like go eat the street food. You know,
so we would go to the gym and then we actually brought our own protein powder with us, and we'd go to the smoothie vendor on the street. And we'd say, hey, can you make us this fruit smoothie, but throw in 2 scoops of this protein? And they actually at one point said, no, I'm not doing it anymore because it gets my blender dirty.
All the powders like stick to their blender.
To the blender. So, but that's what we would do. And we would go out for dinner. We'd get like $2 for chicken skewers. And so we were living very inexpensively in some of these countries that we went to. And so that way we were, you know, actually like we felt like we were getting paid to travel because we were making so much more money in our businesses than we were in our paying in our travel and our rent. You know, if we were to stay in Canada while we were building our businesses, we would have incurred much more expenses in just rent and paying for groceries.
And I think all that traveling, it really helped us to basically be able to, one, move to another country because we were so used to and comfortable traveling and, you know, being in different places and everything, but it also helped us. All that experience helps you make better decisions. You know, it helps you evaluate opportunities better. We were able to evaluate Panama and living here because we had been to so many other countries. You know, even when we found this community, it was because we had been to so many other places and lived in different places that we were able to make a decision that we felt good about because of our previous experience that we accumulated. So life experience is such an important asset to have in your life. And you know, they say that success is the result of good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. You know, so by making some poor judgment, making mistakes, pushing your comfort zone, that experience allows you to make better judgment and better decisions in your life.